This remarkable fruit, by all rights, should not exist. Its skin is so exceedingly delicate that even the slightest touch can cause it to weep. It flourishes in the depths of winter, a time when all other trees surrender to slumber, and it endures temperatures so frigid they could solidify mercury. For many years, the most exceptional genetic strains of this plant were kept hidden behind the Iron Curtain, studied in clandestine horticultural facilities nestled within Siberia. These investigations were conducted to develop a survival food source for a population grappling with severe scarcity. While farmers in America focused on cultivating apples with an eye for aesthetic appeal on store shelves, their counterparts in the Soviet Union were dedicated to breeding a berry capable of acting as an internal thermal regulator for the human body. Visually, it resembles a blueberry that has been stretched and distorted by a funhouse mirror. Its taste evokes the sensation of a raspberry steeped in fine wine. Crucially, it contains a unique compound that renders the so-called superfoods found in your local grocery store practically indistinguishable from plain sugar water. Yet it is highly probable you have never encountered it, nor have you ever had the chance to taste it. This is the honeyberry, scientifically known as Lonicera caerulea, the outcast of the fruit kingdom. To fully appreciate why this plant represents a biological wonder, we must examine its underlying mechanisms. The honeyberry belongs to the honeysuckle family. Typically, this would raise a warning flag, as many honeysuckles are poisonous. However, this particular varietal is an anomaly, a blueberried exception, an evolutionary marvel meticulously crafted to withstand the harsh conditions of the boreal forest. While a conventional peach or cherry blossom will succumb to frost and turn brown if the temperature drops below 28 degrees Fahrenheit, the open blossom of a honeyberry can withstand 19 degrees Fahrenheit without sustaining any damage. The woody structure of the plant itself can survive temperatures as low as -53 degrees Fahrenheit. It is, in essence, the armored vehicle of the fruit world. But its true secret lies within its chemical composition. We have been misled into believing that the blueberry reigns supreme as the ultimate source of antioxidants. Let us dissect this deception. Observe the interior of a commercially grown blueberry. What do you perceive? A pigmented skin, certainly, but the flesh within is a translucent green or white. The beneficial properties are confined solely to the surface. Now, consider the inside of a honeyberry. Its flesh is a deep, vibrant crimson purple that permeates the entire fruit. It is thoroughly saturated. This intense coloration originates from anthocyanins, specifically a highly potent compound known as cyanidin-3 glucoside, abbreviated as C3G. This is the preeminent antioxidant. Clinical investigations have demonstrated that C3G is 3.5 times more effective than the analogous compounds found in vitamin E. It not only neutralizes free radicals, but also actively regulates inflammation at the cellular level. Let us examine the specific figures. According to mass spectrometry analyses conducted by the University of Saskatchewan and Delhi University, a typical blueberry contains approximately 160 to 200 milligrams of anthocyanins per 100 grams. In contrast, the honeyberry registers between 400 and 1,500 milligrams per 100 grams, a figure that varies depending on the specific cultivar. This represents an increase of up to 750%. Consider vitamin C. An orange provides roughly 53 milligrams per 100 grams. The honeyberry, however, delivers up to 186 milligrams per 100 grams. This signifies that a modest handful, approximately half a cup, provides more vitamin C than 3 oranges, all without the accompanying surge in blood sugar typically associated with fructose. We are discussing a superfruit that requires absolutely no artificial chemical inputs for its cultivation. The honeyberry is not a recent discovery. It is simply unfamiliar to us. For centuries, the indigenous Ainu people of Hokkaido, Japan, held this plant in deep reverence. They referred to it as haskap, a name that translates to the berry of long life and many gifts. To the Ainu, it was far more than a simple snack. It was considered the lotus of the north, a sacred elixir bestowing vitality in an unforgiving, frozen terrain. While the Ainu recognized its spiritual significance, the Soviet Union perceived its strategic importance. Throughout the 20th century, Soviet horticulturists were intensely focused on food security. They sought crops that could reliably produce vitamin C in regions where citrus trees would instantly perish from the cold. Russian scientists embarked on extensive expeditions across the Kamchatka Peninsula, gathering wild genetic material of Lonicera caerulea. For decades, the breeding of this berry was conducted in utmost secrecy at horticultural stations situated behind the Iron Curtain, effectively transforming it into a clandestine spycraft berry. It was only after the dissolution of the Soviet Union that these valuable genetics began to disseminate westward. It was not until the late 1990s that Dr. Bob Boers at the University of Saskatchewan undertook the monumental endeavor of crossbreeding the tart, hardy Russian varieties with the sweet, delicate Japanese cultivars. The outcome of this ambitious project was the modern honeyberry, a fruit possessing the resilience of a Soviet tank and the sophisticated flavor profile of a Japanese delicacy. To fully grasp the potential of the honeyberry, we must compare it to its primary competitor, the blueberry. Within the realm of gardening, the blueberry is notoriously temperamental. It demands considerable attention and is notoriously difficult to satisfy. Blueberries evolved in boggy environments, necessitating highly acidic soil with a pH ranging between 4.5 and 5.5. If your soil has a neutral pH of 7, cultivating blueberries becomes an arduous task. When planted in standard garden soil, a blueberry plant struggles to absorb iron, leading to yellowing leaves, a condition known as chlorosis, and the plant will gradually starve to death. To sustain its life, one must constantly purchase bags of peat moss, apply elemental sulfur annually, and persistently battle against the natural chemistry of the land. The honeyberry, however, stands in stark contrast as the antithesis of a demanding plant. It thrives across an exceptionally broad pH range, from 5.0 to 8.0. It flourishes in heavy clay soil that would suffocate a blueberry plant. It grows successfully in silt and sand. It requires no sulfur amendments and no special treatment. It adapts to the land in its existing state. However, there is a more somber reason why the blueberry ultimately triumphed in the commercial arena. The agricultural industry favored it due to its thick, waxy outer layer, a cuticle that enables mechanical harvesting. Blueberries can be tumbled into containers and transported without rupturing. The honeyberry, conversely, embodies a completely different philosophy. The skin of a honeyberry is virtually imperceptible. It is exquisitely tender, akin to a perfectly ripe raspberry, yet even more fragile. If you were to fill a deep crate with honeyberries and transport it by truck, the weight of the berries at the top would crush those at the bottom. Upon arrival at the distribution center, you would not find intact fruit, but rather a container filled with juice. Furthermore, the berry detaches from its stem with what botanists refer to as a wet scar. When you pick a blueberry, the resulting wound quickly seals over. However, when you harvest a honeyberry, the fruit often presents an open aperture at the top, from which juice can readily escape. This characteristic renders it exceedingly problematic for the industrial supply chain. A fruit with a shelf life of merely 3 days, that also stains its packaging, is deemed commercially unviable, irrespective of its antioxidant content being 7 times that of its competitor. This failure in the commercial distribution system presents your unparalleled opportunity. Because the industry cannot effectively monetize the honeyberry, the sole method to experience this berry of life is to cultivate it yourself. Fortunately, it is arguably the most effortless fruit plant you will ever own. However, before proceeding, safety is of utmost importance. Do not venture into the wilderness and begin consuming random honeysuckles. Most wild honeysuckles bearing red or orange berries are toxic. You must specifically seek out Lonicera caerulea or Lonicera villosa. Do not attempt to forage for these unless you possess expert knowledge. The most secure and effective approach is to purchase certified cultivars from a reputable nursery. The honeyberry is a resilient northern plant. It thrives in United States Department of Agriculture, Zones 2 through 7. It can tolerate Zone 8 if provided with afternoon shade and ample water. However,
It cannot withstand the scorching heat of the deep south. It requires what botanists term chill hours, specifically between 1,000 and 1,200 hours, with temperatures ranging between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 45 degrees Fahrenheit to successfully set fruit.
During winter, these plants are deciduous, shedding their leaves and entering a dormant state. For a period, they will resemble lifeless sticks. Do not be alarmed. This dormancy is precisely their inherent strength, enabling them to awaken in March and endure the frosts that devastate other flora. Critically, do not purchase seeds. Honeyberries are not true to seed. If you acquire a packet of seeds from an online vendor, you will likely end up with a wild, bitter bush that takes 5 years to produce fruit. You must purchase dormant plants or plugs to guarantee the desired sweet genetic traits. Seek out specialized nurseries rather than your local hardware store. Look for varieties such as Aurora, Borealis, Indigo Gem, or The Beast. Consider vendors like Honeyberry USA or One Green World, as they offer the superior University of Saskatchewan cultivars. Stark Bros and proved winners also carry lines like Yesberry, which are excellent choices for home gardeners. Next, you must adhere to the crucial pairing rule. Honeyberries are not self-pollinating. You are required to plant at least 2 distinct varieties that bloom concurrently to facilitate cross-pollination. If you select Aurora, pair it with Borealis or Indigo Gem. If you opt for the Beast, ensure it is planted alongside the Beauty. Without a compatible partner, you will observe flowers but will not yield any fruit. Plant honeyberries in the ground during the early spring or late fall. Apply a generous layer of mulch to maintain cool root temperatures and then allow them to grow. Deer tend to disregard them due to their fuzzy leaves. Pests rarely pose a threat because the fruit ripens in late May or early June, well before most insects have even become active. A healthy honeyberry bush can live for 50 years. And now, let us discuss the taste. Envision a flavor that perfectly balances the essence of a blueberry, a raspberry, and a black currant. It possesses remarkable complexity. Newer cultivars exhibit Brix levels, a measure of sugar content, reaching 15 to 18. For perspective, a strawberry typically averages 10. By cultivating honeyberries, you are effectively bridging the hunger gap. While your neighbors are purchasing expensive, artificially whitened strawberries transported from distant states, you will be venturing into your own backyard, filling buckets with the deep purple lotus of the north. The commercial industry will not offer it to you because they are incapable of shipping it. They cannot control it. And this very characteristic makes it the ultimate fruit of freedom. If you are prepared to plant a crop that defies the conventions of winter, we are unearthing the past to nourish the future. I will see you in the garden.